Hello, welcome to Canada. My name is Dr. Silverman. I'm sure you know me by now, so no introduction from me. This is Thursday morning. I am very, very excited because I have a privilege and the honor of interviewing a very close friend of mine, Desiree Mamot. So before I tell you Desiree story a little bit, I met Des about over 5 years ago, I would say, Des, right? So,
Yeah.
and of course, we met through our company, health and wellness company. However, we became very, very close friends. We became, I would say, mutual confidants and
Yep.
mutual teachers and mutual advisors. Now, the thing is, there are a couple things that I cherish in people the most. And despite how beautiful Desiree Mamot is, she's absolutely gorgeous.
You're
But
really sweet.
there are
You know.
two things that I cherish in people. Number one is kindness. And number two, obviously, if you're kind, you have a big heart. Why are we such close friends? Because I love Des for
I
being
love you
such
too.
a huge heart and being such a kindness. The story started later when, so now Des is number one as mom. Of course, she's an entrepreneur. However, she's graduated, which I had no idea, with a degree of biochemistry or biophysics. Oh, my cat just fell off. Okay. Biochemistry or biophysiology. And then chose not to go into science or research, and she went into business, became a cosmetologist. She's a mother of three, two boys and an amazing girl, Lola. She's married to an amazing dude. But the thing is, she will tell you her story, but my even closer connection with Des started through her son, Chase, when
Yep.
Chase was diagnosed with acute myelogenous leukemia. And that's what brings people together. What Des learned about the disease and taught me, I haven't learned in med school, double trained. What Des taught me in terms of treatment, genetics, alternative modes, how to deal with this condition. That's what I learned about ML. So bottom line today, number one, we're not treating, mitigating, or curing disease. This is not the purpose of this. I am a doctor. What does that mean? I'm the teacher. I'm a number one teacher. I'm not here to cure the disease, but I'm here to help you, to teach you and educate you, maybe to find the means and modes how. You are the one who is going to deal with this. My goal is, and this is my equation, health plus quality of life equals choices and knowledge. And that is why I'm so excited to interview Des Mamot today, Desiree Mamot. Des, it's all yours. Please tell us your story.
Well, thank you. And Sveta, I have to say right back at you too there. I get emotional all the time thinking about how you were brought into my life and how I honestly couldn't have gotten through everything I did with Chase and my own stuff without you. So I'm genuinely saying that God brought you in my life for so many reasons. So I'm so thankful. So love
Mutual,
you tons.
absolutely. Universe took care of us.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So my story probably started when I was younger, just kind of grew up with a lot of different kind of health symptoms and, things that just became my normal. I was kind of always the sick kid. I was always runny nose, sinus infections, headaches, memory, kind of a brain fog. I was always the one who got sick. If somebody else had it, I for sure got it, and it would last for days and days. And, those were just kind of, everybody kind of thought it was allergies, and, I had stomach problems. And I think it just became a normal that I kind of stopped even mentioning when my stomach would hurt, or when my throat hurt, or when, my head hurt, because it just kind of became who I was. And I didn't really think anything of it because I didn't know any different, to be honest. And so, my symptoms kind of gradually started getting worse. I would say maybe college, and even in my 20s, when I noticed a lot of neck pain and headaches. And I didn't really have anxiety. I guess I was more like OCD, perfectionist. My brain would never stop. I had some sleep problems where I couldn't shut my brain down, things like that. So I guess there's so many people out there that are just dealing with these random symptoms and have no idea, why. And that's just kind of their story. So I would say I did really well for quite a few years, just kind of trying to eat clean and work out. And I grew up in a family. My mom was really into health, and she cooked well and taught us to exercise. So I think all of these things helped me kind of maintain my health. And then about 6.5 years ago, I was introduced to NRF2 activation by a friend of mine who I absolutely adore. And I'll explain a little more about what I believe that did, but I started getting healthier. My immune system started working better. I wasn't experiencing so much pain. I wasn't getting sick as often. My stomach started feeling better. So some of these symptoms, I didn't know what I had. I just knew that I didn't care. I was just feeling better. And then when my son was diagnosed with cancer is when my body, the stress of that kind of spiraled my symptoms out of control after a while. And then I was diagnosed with Lyme disease about 3 years ago. So kind of all along, they believe I've had it my whole life. And that these symptoms have kind of just always been driven by Lyme disease.
This is incredible, and I remember you going through Chase's struggles. There were struggles, all right, with, chemotherapy and the complications. That was the strength of you, the strength of your boy. It's incredible. But I didn't know that basically after being so strong for Chase, you practically collapsed. Mm-hmm. You were like almost bedridden to the point. So this is not a whiff of a Lyme disease. Mm-hmm. You actually have a full-blown Lyme disease. Not only this, but now rolling backwards, you also know that it was transferred, because it crosses the placenta. So both of your boys, they also have Lyme disease. So that's why it's so important to talk of the modes and means how to deal with this. And I think you're the best example, because I think you found the regimen of the complexity, how you and your boys are dealing with this. This is really amazing. And it is complex, because I know that you did your sequencing. So we're talking about epigenetics, you're working on your genes. I know that you were physically affecting Lyme disease, going into Germany, having a heat therapy, and this is not a joke, the heat therapy that you underwent, because you are under general anesthetic, and they literally boil your body, and you wake up like, tell us that story. So it's not just per se the NRF2 activation, which is a considerable part of it.
Yep. Yeah, the treatment, you're totally right. In the complexity, I think, of Lyme is, not everyone understands. Even the doctors, I think, who work with Lyme don't, admit they don't understand the complexity of what it all, it pretty much can attack every system and every part of your body, your blood, your bones, your joints, your brain, your heart. All of these things are affected by it. So that's why it is, kind of this silent epidemic that mimics so many autoimmune diseases, so many different symptoms that, are getting misdiagnosed with things like just fibromyalgia or even MS, or you look at autism, you look at depression, anxiety, all of these things could absolutely have these underlying infections. Lyme comes with a host of other infections. Lyme never comes by itself. Someone probably doesn't just have the Lyme infection. They generally have, 10, 20, 30 other infections, things going on in the body, that the Lyme just suppresses that immune system so much that these other infections just become stronger and stronger. So, things like antibiotics and things like that suppress the immune system make these bugs and things even stronger. So stress is another example of something that can make that body, suppress that system. And generally people with Lyme, if they do experience a big stress in their life, that's when they either realize something major is going on, and it usually goes back to getting diagnosed as an autoimmune like disease. So
what is your day? How did you bring yourself to relativity of health? Obviously, you are living with Lyme.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I don't think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, if your titer is a 0, that's awesome. But I kind of don't believe that it's a case with Lyme and it sits somewhere. You just basically, you build the army of defense. There is a war every day in your body and in the kids' bodies, and it's who wins. How do you win? What is your regimen? What is your cycle?
Yeah, you're totally right with that, Sveta, is that you're right. You're just trying to keep it in a balance of your body working well to fight it and to not let it take over your immune system essentially and affect every part of your body. So I do believe you can kind of be in a remission type state. My biggest thing is that if I can keep my body in a good state, if something stressful happens or I were to get sick or anything major in my life, can my body kind of maintain and do well? And that's what we all want to be able to do in our lives, is prevent. So I would say, for me, there's been some pivotal things in my life that I've done. And I obviously believe with Lyme, like a foundation of exercise, eating clean, prayer or meditation, whatever, is so big for the body in all aspects of disease. I think the brain is so smart. And so I believe that, what your brain is telling your body is real. And so, when I was introduced to NRF2 or NRF2 activation by my girlfriend, that was truly a life-changing moment. I know for me, since I had experienced, years of not feeling good. And I think sometimes people don't realize that their normal is not really normal. It's just their normal. So they kind of forget what it was like before. And I know once I started activating my body through this product that I started, I noticed my sleep was different. I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night. My brain was kind of shutting down and letting me sleep. I started noticing my nerve pain was not so extreme. I was still having neck stuff, but it wasn't running down my entire spine. I started noticing, I think because it activates your detoxification pathways, I was noticing I wasn't getting so sick all the time. I remember in that first year, I typically would have at least 3 to 4 sinus infections a year. And then unfortunately would get put on antibiotics. And not knowing what I know now, I believe every time from my childhood that I was on antibiotics, I was, it was destroying everything and it wasn't really helping my body. So what I noticed in that first year after NRF2 activation, I had 1 sinus infection and I didn't go on an antibiotic. I was able to fight it. And that was a really big deal because I had suffered from allergy-like symptoms my whole entire life. I started noticing I'm still probably a perfectionist or have some of that OCD, but I noticed my brain was calmer. I had more energy. I had a longer leash, I guess you would say, even with my kids when I was tired, because fatigue is the number one symptom, I would say, across the board. with Lyme. So those were the things I think I was lowering inflammation at the cellular level. I was detoxing at the cellular level. So those are things with Lyme that are an absolute must. Absolute must.
Incredible. Incredible. You just gave us the pattern. A, stay away from the stress if you can. B, rebooting that brain with any pray, meditation, yoga, any kind of this, good nutrition, and
Yes.
NRF2 activation. And I know that you went to Germany for that treatment, and I think they were looking at you with that NRF2 activation. For them, it was like a big discovery. Because
Yeah,
that's a whole thing.
absolutely.
People don't know about NRF2, and that discovery is just that what is happening. Why am I, as a physician, so excited about NRF2? It is called master regulator of health for a reason. We are not going to get into papers.
Yeah, it is. And over there in Germany, where they do treatment, and, Germany is one of those countries that's very advanced in their medicine and in their research. And that's why I chose to go there to this clinic. They treat Lyme and cancer. And what was incredible is that what I noticed, and I tell this about my son as well, when you activate your body, when you go through things like that, that was an extreme treatment that I went through. And I just came out of there really strong feeling, and I didn't feel like this treatment knocked me to the ground. Like some of the people there, they weren't out of bed for days. And I didn't feel great after my first treatment, but I was up and doing stuff. And they were kind of like, I was kind of the happier Lyme person, I guess you would say there. And I just think I had activated my body. I had turned on that detoxification pathway. And so my body was able to handle what they were doing.
It's amazing how the body reacted to that treatment, which include hyperthermia and other modalities, because that treatment massively killing the bugs, those parasites. And then with this sort of, NRF2 activation and detoxification and cleansing, and obviously accentuating the treatment, how you came with strides. And I know that people were very interested there and stuff.
Yes.
It's incredible what the body does when we actually start helping the body the right way.
Well, and through nerve 2 activation there, the protocol after Germany, it's just like anything with Lyme. It's not ever simple. It can be very overwhelming, the amount of things. And I remember when I had this 2 pages of my protocol afterwards, and I was able to eliminate about 15 daily items because of one pill, because of activating. And that was really intriguing to them as well, because they're always looking for things for their patients to simplify, because Lyme is never simple. And so I loved that I could get rid of so many things because I was activating my body. I didn't need to supplement it with other stuff.
Awesome. Activating, not supplementing. Well, supplementing when it's needed.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you a question. Obviously, you were mentioning with Lyme, number one is fatigue. Fatigue, no energy, brain fog, the cloud and stuff. Now, what gives us energy? Mitochondria. Yep. What is the powerhouse? Is the mitochondria. And is there significance of boosting mitochondria in Lyme?
Yes. And there's such a parallel between cancer and Lyme in a lot of reasons, or a lot of areas. And, there's that commonality of inflammation, not detoxifying well. And one of the other is mitochondrial. So I learned a lot about mitochondrial dysfunction when Chase was sick, because I kept hearing reduce inflammation, help the mitochondria, and heal the gut. And those 3 things are identical in Lyme or chronic disease in general. And so I started really studying a ton about the mitochondria. And in Lyme, most of the time, your mitochondria aren't working properly at all. I mean, even look at this with autism, same type thing. There's some commonalities, and there's a reason why a lot of doctors believe behind autism could be this underlying Lyme infection as well.
And we know that in autism, 50 to 80% of kids have mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yes, exactly. And I would say in Lyme, I don't know a doctor and the research that I've done where they don't talk about that mitochondria has been absolutely disrupted, the production of it in your body. And so you're tired because your mitochondria aren't working. Your mitochondria are communicating to the rest of your body. That's not happening. So there's so many different things with mitochondrial dysfunction. And so after kind of researching that and looking at that, when you can activate that pathway as well through NRF1, that's a huge deal, not only for my son after cancer, but me. And so I really felt like the timing of learning about the mitochondria and NRF1 activation was once again another God thing, because I didn't know of how I was going to help my mitochondria or how I was going to help Chase's. And so, yeah, it's an absolute must, mitochondria health with Lyme.
This is amazing. You know, that's what we discuss. See, that's why for me, for example, as a pathologist, the quality of the cells is so important, because if we do not take care of this cellular cleanliness, the cellular mechanism is not going to work. It's going to be a rusted bucket.
Yep.
And if the cell is not clean, the mitochondria is dirty. And the mitochondria is not working. It contributes to cellular, basically, dirty bucket.
Yep.
So it's like a vicious circle. But when we start working in both departments, so to speak, synergistically and simultaneously, one benefits from the other. Clean cell benefits reboots of the mitochondria. Healthy mitochondria contributes to cellular functionality, and cellular functionality is from here to there. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's a brain cell or the toe cell, it's still a cell, and it still has to function.
Yeah, and I think like the biggest thing a lot of times with Lyme or any of these treatments, whether you're, you know, activating your body, going to Germany, whatever you're doing, is this all takes time. And, you know, it's like that mitochondria help, you know, all of that. It's, you know, when I do something today or even 2 years ago, it's like now you can look back and see this has taken time for the body to heal. And just like the mitochondria, it's the same thing that I tell people, like, you know, get things like this in your body, but look at yourself in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, because, you know, your body has to go, it can't do all of it at once, or you'd be really sick. And that's why I tell people with Lyme is that you don't want to go kill everything, store everything, and not be able to detoxify it or get it, you know, so it does take time. And I tell people that this is definitely a marathon. This is not a quick sprint by any means.
This is incredible what you're teaching us. That path to health, this is not a one click, you know, one switch, and boom, from nothing, you know, from feeling absolutely lousy, you are in 100% of a perfect health. Unfortunately, however, fortunately, that commitment to health, this is a commitment to health. This is those pillars of health. Again, I keep reiterating, this is your mental, this is your physical, this is your food blocks, the nutritional part, this is your cellular upregulation, and it takes time to get you to functionality, because you have to, because as we already mentioned, it's a constant battle. It's a constant war between the good guys and the bad guys, and we definitely want the good guys to win. The last thing, Des, because again, we're talking about the war, it's the war in our microgut or our probiotics, our microbiota. It's like sometimes we underestimate, we call microgut, but our microbiota is from here to down there. Everywhere we covered with probiotics. However, sometimes we cover it with bad biotics, and sometimes we and most of the time, hopefully, we cover it with good probiotics. So is there significance in our microgut or microbiota and the fight with Lyme disease?
Absolutely. And I tell people that, you know, with Lyme, you don't have to have a lot of Lyme. People with Lyme do have stomach gut issues. whether it be like almost a celiac or an irritable bowel, or just like me, who you just always had stomach. It didn't matter what I ate. My stomach just hurt and there was no rhyme or reason to it. And so I was just kind of crampy and achy. But you don't have to have gut symptoms to have gut issues. And I think that's like like people don't understand that you can have things like leaky gut and things like that caused by Lyme and have the weird brain fog and arthritic pain and different things, problems with weight loss. Or for me, it was, I would just lose weight really quickly and I was really malnourished. Like my body was not taking in nutrients. So it didn't matter if I was taking a vitamin D or if I was doing all of these great things or a fish oil or something, my body really wasn't able to absorb it. And so when you look at the gut issue with Lyme, every time the gut has been compromised somehow. You look at mold toxicity, things like that in Lyme, heavy metals, all of those things are going to play a role in your gut. And for me, when my stomach hurt all the time, I was always sick, but I didn't know that 70 to 80% of my immune system was in my gut. So I tell people you have to start lowering inflammation and healing your gut before you can start doing all of these other things and supplementing other things, because potentially you could just be wasting your money if you're not actually absorbing the nutrients. And so it didn't matter how good I ate. I mean, yes, that was awesome that I like eating clean, but I really was kind of malnourished because my gut was not absorbing. So that is huge with Lyme. That's huge with that anxiety connection with Lyme, that brain connection with Lyme. Some people with Lyme have a horrible time losing weight. So there's usually your extremes. It's either they lose weight and they don't know why, or they have a horrible time losing weight because, once again, that gut is destroyed. The thyroid is usually messed up with Lyme. Hormones are messed up. So all of these things are huge to address that gut first before you can start to heal a lot of the rest of the body. So
there is a reason why people call Desiree Mamot walking healthy encyclopedia. There is a reason, because that girl, whatever comes out of her mouth, is not only she walks the walk, but she actually researches things. And, when people ask me, can you send me the paper? I'm usually quite sarcastic about it, because you ain't going to read it. I know if I send Desiree Mamot a paper or a blog or anything, it's from the cover to the cover with the question, can you please send me more? The beauty of this friendship is not just love, but it's how we both strive of getting better, of learning more. Because then, again, my thing is, if I learn more, I will teach it. I don't need to keep it in myself. There is no point of me walking smart. No, I need to share it. And the same thing Desiree does. She's got a full day and she's sharing her time with us. Now, the very last thing, how are the kids? Are they following forcefully or voluntarily? Because they're kids.
Oh, yes, that is a hard thing, I would say, like with Lyme. And that's why I do like to share, kind of the research and things like that, because I think with Lyme, it can be so overwhelming and you just want somebody to tell you what to do, and the problem with Lyme is that what works for one person, their layers of the onion, like I say, is not the same for me as it is for you. But I know certain things that we all need to do. And so just like with my kids, it's the same thing that I'm trying to teach them every day through example of saying, these are the things, unfortunately, I've given you this, horrible disease. And I think that the more we understand how it is passed from mom to baby and husband and wife and all different kinds of insects. So I think for me, it's just instilling in them the knowledge, and they take everything I take. There's not really an option in my household. When they're 18 and out of the house and they are 20, I don't know, I'm still going to be sending them stuff, but I just don't want people to have to live their whole life feeling the way I did or feeling the way that people do. And so I just pray for my kids. It's just trying to give them enough information and hope that someday those words resonate with them.
Oh, they absolutely will. They already are, because Chase is such an ambassador of health.
Yeah, he is.
That
He's
little
wise.
peanut, I still have the t-shirt with a bold cat and fight
I
for
love it.
peanut. I will never, ever get rid of it. It's in my office in the hospital.
I
But
love that.
he's such a fighter and an ambassador of health. Plus, all of them are cat lovers. Like, hello.
I love it. I love you.
Listen, thank you so much. I already taken too much of your precious time.
No, not at
Your
all.
teachings are incredible. And with your permission, of course, if it's okay, I will post it, because people need to know this. That's number one.
Yeah.
People need to know this. How are they going to act on it? It's their choices.
Yep.
But
Yep.
their knowledge that there is something there for them that can help them, that they can actually educate doctors. That's what we're
Yes.
here for. Desiree, Mamot,
Absolutely.
I love you. Thank you for being my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you, and thank you for taking the time. And I love your passion for not only educating, with your cancer patients and the people, your knowledge in cancer, but also things like Lyme, who, that's so important for people to know about as well. So,
Also, got to be healthy. Got to be healthy.
Yep.
Healthy means happy.
Yes. Well, thank you, Dr.
Love
Sveta.
you. Love
you too. Have a great day.
You too.